Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. Today's Monday, September 1st. Happy Labor Day to everybody out there. It's a great Monday. It's the best Monday
in 5 years
that we've had in 5 years. LSU starts 1-0 for the first time since 2019 in dominant fashion. Score was 17-10. Probably should have been worse. Dominated Clemson every facet of the game. Time of possession, yards. I think the only thing Clemson won was a turnover battle, but one of the turnovers really didn't matter because the end of the first half. Great start to the season. Makes it everybody a lot happier to come in on a Monday and no work. So everybody's watching SportsCenter. Everybody's watching Get Up. Everybody's watching all these shows because it's all good stuff about LSU. Now they're talking about LSU potentially being the #1 team in the country next year when the rankings come back out. Much deserved. I don't think they should be #1. Let's stay at #5. Let's just keep moving forward. 1-0, one game at a time. A lot to talk about through that game, but there's a lot of other games that we also need to hit on. SEC went 14-2 in Week 1. The two losses were two big matchups: Texas, Ohio State. Texas, the Arch Manning era has gotten off to a rocky start. Let's pump the brakes a little bit on the Arch Manning sucks narrative right now because I don't think he sucks. We're going to talk about this throughout the course of the show. Jared sent us some clips. Matt Patricia was in his bag and really, really, really confused Arch Manning throughout the course of that game, bringing blitzes, faking blitzes, doing a bunch of things that really confused a young quarterback who hasn't started very much in college football. But Texas loses to Ohio State, and Alabama loses to Florida State. Alabama loses to Florida State in a way different fashion than Texas just lost. Alabama may be cooked. I think the Alabama dynasty is over. Kalen DeBoer is on the hot seat now, apparently, which we all anticipated. Went 9-4 last year. Hey, you don't get off to a good start. You lose to Florida State, who's unranked, and the fashion that you lose to them. Roll Tide fans aren't going to have a lot of patience because they've gotten spoiled since 2008, since Nick Saban won his first national championship there. But it seems like they're in a tough spot. They're in a little bit of a pickle. We're going to talk about that throughout the course of the show. Bryce Kuhn joins the show at 6:15 to talk about LSU and talk about what's being talked about in the locker room and talk about what he saw there. Lloyd, you were at the game. How was that game? How was the atmosphere there in Clemson? You said it was a little. You said they were weird.
They're I don't want to say it this way, but like ACC A&M, very much put Dabo on the cross.
Okay.
There's some.
Well, that could be one of two ways. Like put him on the cross, like
no, worship him.
Okay.
Kiss the feet, wash the feet, take the thongs away. It was bizarre, but nice people.
Nice, very nice. Almost
people.
too nice, you said.
Yeah, almost.
Except for the video, I saw there was a video of a Clemson fan choking out a young LSU fan.
They did not expect to lose.
No,
I will say that.
Of course.
2019, I also saw the Clemson fans, and they were very nice, and they knew that it was going to be a bloodbath. 2025, they expected to win. They're like, oh, y'all have fun here. Brother.
Yeah.
Next year, it's not going to be like this.
Yeah.
Just so you know, when you come to Death Valley, this one in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, we're hospitable before, during, after STDDB.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we're actually talking about this, like winning this week.
I feel so good.
And not losing. Jay, where'd you watch the game?
I watched the game
national
at,
two-time national champion. One time in football, one time in baseball. Top 100 football recruit in the country. I'm saying this because people think we're a baseball show. We're not just a baseball show. We're an all sports show. We have actually
two.
Actually, before
three.
We got two football national champions.
Count them.
On the show today. Obviously, Jared, co-host of the show. One time baseball, one time football. Top 100 recruit. We also have linebacker Cameron Vaughn, 3-time starter at LSU. Played every game of his career at LSU. National champion, 2003 national champion. Preseason Butkus Award watch list as a senior.
Pretty good team he was on.
Okay, average team, I would say. Just average.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
all right.
not bad. Good, okay.
They had some decent careers afterwards.
Yeah,
too.
they had some NFL guys. He was on the team with Kyle Williams, which obviously a new defensive line coach. He was on the team with, I can go down the list of how many guys that played in the NFL on that team. But we are very grateful to have you on the show.
Great to be here.
Appreciate you coming in. Appreciate you
invite.
dropping some of your wisdom from the defensive side. We got the defensive side of the ball covered and the offensive side of the ball covered.
Well, for talking championships, right? You got to talk defense.
Exactly. Defense wins championships, no doubt. No doubt. Before Jade, I cut you off.
Sells the tickets, though, baby. We need it.
Where'd you watch the game, Jared?
I was at this bar called The Boot. It's actually an LSU bar here in Houston with a couple friends. Kind of just popped out there, watched it. Man, it was kind of funny, man. It kind of rained that day, and they had a group of dudes that was sitting at this table next to us. There's like this outside area, and under the table that they chose to sit in, like there was people in the bar, but it wasn't like at capacity. Let's just put it like that. That's a fair way to say it. There was other seats these boys could have taken, but I think they liked what they were getting in terms of where that TV was that they wanted to sit in front of. But that one table, it looked like the beaches of Normandy. Like it was juicy under there. And them boys was just playing. They didn't give a damn. Like feet all in it, just splashing everywhere. I'm like,
it rained over there. It was a little wet.
Yeah, it rained that day. Yeah, it came down hard that day for about an hour and a half, like early afternoon.
Okay.
But I watched it at a bar. It was a good spot. I enjoyed everything I saw. I'm gonna tell you.
The only thing
outside of the halftime decision to go forward, I enjoyed.
Yeah, I didn't love that. What did we say last week? Hey, when you get into 3 years in a row, 4 years in a row, you've had the situation where you get down on the goal line or you get down close to scoring. Now, the 2 prior years was the first drive of the game, right? So the first drive of the game, you get all the way down there and you go for it on fourth. You don't get points. It comes back to bite you in the ass. You get down there at the end of the half, have an opportunity to get points. You decide to go, all right, going for it, didn't like the decision. Going for it is a decision. If you're going to do that, why are you going to run the play call? You're going to call the play that you called, because if you get the first down, you're still going to kick the field goal anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're going to you have no timeouts left, so you have to, and you call the timeout to get to that.
Yeah.
Then you go do that, and then you have to go rush, spike it, and maybe you throw a ball in the end zone after that. The risk didn't outweigh the reward for me.
I don't want to get too far into the game yet. Obviously, we still got a lot of show that we're going to do that. But the reason why I bring that up is because as we were talking pre-show, we talked about how much LSU blitzed, and Cam just sat there and just told us like, hey, if you're going to blitz a lot, it's because we got a lot of trust in what's going on the back end of what we're doing defensively. So then with those two things being the case, you got to know that Brian Kelly knows that, coach, he knows that going into the game. You've given up 10. The defense is playing great. Take the points when you get a chance. So it didn't match up to everything else that you would assume that is going on. I understand it if you feel like we can't stop them or we need this because we don't have a chance in this one. That shouldn't ever really be the feel at LSU. But I understand if that's the case. But it doesn't feel like this team feels like they should be the underdog. So take the points. Yeah. And just roll. Yeah. That didn't match up with what else was going on in the game. That's the only reason why I guess I give so much pushback on that decision. But the rest of the game, I like what was going on.
And luckily, it didn't come back to bite us. Luckily, it didn't really matter at the end of the game, unlike the last couple years. The only thing I didn't love about this weekend, did not get off on the right foot on the betting front. That
par for the course.
Was not. Oh no! Last year was great college football. This weekend, look, I think it's like when you're playing golf. You don't want to birdie the first hole because you're probably not going to be able to live up to that through the course of the round. You want to double bogey it because then you just you work on it, you get better as the round goes on, and you're not expecting too much. I mean, you've been with me when I birdied one, and then I double bogey. It's not great.
I've seen you do the Danny Ramos where my knee.
That did happen. No, I did hurt. I did hurt my knee. We're not going to talk about my golf game, and we're going to get into the gambling side. You have one more football game tonight, one more college football game tonight to round out the first week of college football season before you go into the real football season, which is college and NFL. NFL starts this Thursday. But before we get to all of that, we want to welcome our next guest, friend of the show, Bryce Kuhn. Welcome back. We appreciate you always joining us on this Monday. You got me, you got Jared, you got Lloyd, and you got Cameron Vaughn, who played linebacker here early 2001 National Championship. So if you got any defensive questions, we got a guy that can answer them for you now.
I mean, they were just so good on Saturday. I don't know if I have any questions.
Listen, let's jump right into it.
It was just so much fun to watch.
It was.
You
It
sound
was.
post-coital, brother. Easy right up.
All right. Let's jump right into it. Right. So obviously 4 years. This is the last 3 years since Brian Kelly's been here. They've come off the first game with an L, and there's been a lot of question marks. There's been a lot of going back and looking at the game and saying, why did they do this? Why didn't they do this? We're not physical enough. None of those questions are being asked. Now it is, okay, we have a real defense. We have an offense who can win the games in a bunch of different ways. The running game was good enough. Caden Durham rushed for, I think, 4.5 yards a carry. I think he had 17 carries for like 74 yards and a touchdown, which is what you want from your number one running back. You were there, boots on the ground. You got to see the team. You got to kind of feel the vibes, talk to the staff, and talk to the at the press conference after the game. Give me your take on the feeling of the team, either going into the game, obviously when they're there, and then after the game, coming off a W.
Yeah, I mean, well, y'all can speak to this more, but I think the swagger's back in terms of the confidence. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, it's one thing to walk into somebody else's stadium and wear the 1-0 T-shirts and all of that's, it's its own ordeal, right? I mean, It's one of those things where people are going to make fun of you until you finally win. Well, they won, and the defense dominated. I mean, I do sit in the camp of, and I've said this multiple times, like I'm in LSU media. I'm not an LSU fan. Like I was not an LSU fan growing up. So this is, I feel like, a good voice on this. I thought the game should have been, I guess, 24-3. Like, I mean, I think 24-7, 24-6, however you want to go. Like, I think LSU could have won this even bigger. Like, that's how much I think they dominated from a defensive standpoint. But, yeah, man, talking with Whit Weeks afterwards, Mansour, Delane, Blake Baker, they knew they were good. They just needed to have a data point to show people and show themselves that when another team in a different colored jersey lined up across from them, they could do what they've been doing during fall camp. And so, I mean, I sat here, guys, last week and told you, like, I think they're pretty good. We just have to see. And that defensively, like, they know that they're good. And, the clips have been kind of going around of, like, Mansour Delane, how he's guarded receivers and what he's been able to do in terms of coverage. And I see a lot of comments like, man, we haven't seen that in a while. Like, just the aggressiveness, the intuition he plays with. A.J. Halsey over the middle. I mean, that's kind of scary. Like that hit he had on the tight end, which kudos to that kid for holding on.
I thought he was going to drop it.
Like that
should have dropped it.
I like the fact that he didn't drop it surprised me. He gets flipped over. They have an aggressive intent, but I like what Brian Kelly said today on Paul Feinbaum's show. He said they play aggressive, not angry. And when they play angry, sometimes you get out of control. They're aggressive and controlled. And, man, they played like that for 60 minutes. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like, they know they're good, and they went out there and showed that on Saturday.
Jared.
Was there anything that, I guess, surprised you in terms of what you saw with the way that Nussmeier played, I guess, throughout the game, as opposed to what you saw from him last year and what he was able to bring to the table? Obviously, this is just one opportunity so far this year, but is there anything in his game that kind of surprised you from last year to this year?
Other than him pulling it and getting 11, 12 yard gain.
How many people stood up on that and started yelling?
No, I think that was obviously big, right? I mean, like, and I kept saying to people in the press, I was like, if he pulls it one time, he's going to have a first down, because they are not accounting for this like at all, like in the least bit. So, no, I mean he's so good, and like, I mean, we can sit here and talk about the Barry and Brown pass all day long, and people say that's an NFL throw. That's throw that you don't even see in the NFL a lot. Like, that's how good of a throw that was. To me, what I loved about it is the patience to go through his progressions. I think that was the biggest thing for me that I saw. There were a couple of times where he rolled out to the right or was forced out to the right, and he would always come back to the far left receiver who was coming across. It was Kyle Parker one time. It was Aaron Anderson a couple of times. That, to me, was something. He didn't try to force it into a tight window to a guy, right there in front of him, or, a little bit 10 yards down the field. No, he was willing to kind of go through his reads, and you go back and watch it. You can watch him literally look off of different things that he did. And so, man, I don't know necessarily from a surprising standpoint. Like, we knew he had the talent. I just think, and one of the biggest questions for me this year was mentally, would he take the next step into the elite tier of college quarterbacks in college football? And I mean, that was a pretty good statement he made on Saturday.
Let's flip it back to the other side because the defense, I think, obviously was the story of the game. Everybody came into the season knowing the offense was going to be good. Is the offensive line going to figure it out? They look good, right? Braylon Moore, SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week. It makes a big difference when you have a center that understands protections, understands what they're trying to do, and is experienced. But on the defensive side of the football, that was the big conversation was, okay, they're going to be a lot better. They're going to be more aggressive. They have the talent. They have the guys. One guy that I think that a lot of people maybe overlooked, and you talked about him on the last time you were on the show, is P.J. Woodland. He got the start, and he had a very, very impactful game. Didn't see a ton of Ashton Stamps. You saw a good amount of Pickett. Obviously, Mansour Delane. Jordan Gilbert played really, really, really well when he was in there in the first half. Talk to me about, the secondary, because you talked about Mansour Delane, but talk to me about P.J. Woodland and how the progression he has made over the course of the last, 2 or 3 weeks, jumping into that starting rotation.
Yeah, I think the buzz coming out of last season was, hey, we need him to put on some good weight. Like, that was the biggest thing, the strength aspect of, we know he's got good, instinctual skills to play the position. We wouldn't have brought him here. Troy Raymond wouldn't have brought him here necessarily if he didn't think that. It's just he's got to be able to bang bodies a little bit at times and get physical. Can he do that? And so last year, obviously, saw playing time sparingly, but that was kind of the big thing for him in the offseason to work on. You get to fall camp last month, and he's in the rotation. Jakeem Jackson's in the rotation. Ashton Stamps. You kind of feel like, hey, Delane and Pickett are going to be guys you obviously want to know. And then, man, I would say over the last week and a half to 2 weeks of fall camp, he just started getting more and more reps. And that was something that was okay, he's just not going away. And like I said, I mentioned this last week. I mean, we kind of just assumed you bring in the 5-star freshman and you bring in the high-profile transfer in Delane, you bring in Jakeem Jackson, who Raymond handpicked to go to Florida with him. You do all of these things, and you kind of slide guys down the depth chart because it's just that's not going to matter. Well, P.J. Woodland, one of the few returners in that room, not only cemented himself as, in the rotation started, like you mentioned, and I think he played great. There's multiple instances, and everyone's going to remember the sack, right? The corner blitz sack that, forces them to punt, which was a great play design, by the way. But I just love the way he competed. And you go back and watch, and I watched this morning, very physical at the point of attack. I don't think their receivers are elite in separation, but I think they're pretty good. And he did a good job of just not allowing a lot of room and a lot of area for them to go make plays. Look, there are a couple times where Brian Wesco is a good football player. He's going to create that separation, and he's going to get his. But there was just never anything with him and really everyone else where you just saw in a rhythm receivers making big plays. And it made life tough for Cade Klubnik. And I think, I'll knock on the ACC a little bit here. I think they're going to be able to do that the rest of the way. I think so. The ACC is going to look weird, over the next couple of months with Florida State on that schedule, maybe being a little bit more of a challenge for them. But just the way that they played, Woodland, all of those guys, there just wasn't a lot of breathing room. And they were sticky. I mean, that's probably the best way to put it. They were just sticky in coverage. And you had to make physical catches. You had to make really good catches. And a couple of times we saw that, right? I mentioned the catch the tight end made over the middle. Then very next play, I believe it was Wesco who had to make that catch where his knee was down. And, I mean, that's a 50-50 ball, and he made the catch. You tip your cap. There just wasn't a lot of easy catches made by these receivers.
Cam, you got one?
Yeah, Bryce. It was Brian Kelly's obviously first opening game win at LSU. Do you know anything fall camp wise that was different this year, or they would just put it all together finally?
I think maybe a little both. I mean, you can only do so many things different. The one thing, and you can speak to this a little bit, was when they went through the last 2 weeks of fall camp, they treated it like game week practice, and that was something that was different. They went how you do your game week practices. I guess what would have been August the 16th. They started that, and so they would didn't have the weird off days during fall camp. They utilized Sundays, their off days. Saturdays were their scrimmage where they simulated having the game and everything. So I just think from that standpoint, that was different. And then, man, just the attitude. I mean, when you bring guys in like Patrick Payton, Jack Pyburn, Mansour Delane, A.J. Halsey, Tamarcus Cooley, yeah, these kids are getting paid. Like these guys are getting paid. We're not denying that. But also, they're all trying to go get a championship. Or get drafted high. And so the best interest of these guys is to go on a national stage and perform. When you come to a place like LSU, you're going to have multiple opportunities to showcase that. And I just think that they took it seriously. I think they finally, and I do agree with Kelly in this, I think they finally have an overwhelming majority bought into what they're trying to do. Yeah. I think they tried to, pigeonhole some things. The past couple of years, they've had some guys that maybe weren't on board with it. This year, they do. And when you get that overwhelming majority and you're really talented, well, then that's where it comes together. So I would just say from a schedule perspective, it changed. I've never been inside of a locker room in terms of playing, so I don't know what that's like. But I think that maybe made a difference. And then just having the right mindset and the guys you brought in, the vetting process they did through the portal, it paid off. And I talked about this. I was like, I think I said it multiple times on Twitter, the past 72 hours. Like, that's why you went and paid to go get Mansour Delana. That's why you paid to go get Jack Piver, because of that type of that clip or that play where they really dominated and changed the game for you.
Jared.
Bryce, really quickly, you went to the game, right? I think I missed it. Okay. So, and I'm glad. So you're kind of doing my job for me right here, because I'm going to digress from the X's and O's for a second. And I'm going to go ahead and ask the $1 million question. You've been in both of them, both Death Valleys. How was the atmosphere there? How did it compare to, obviously, the real Death Valley? And how did that play in game one? Because it's kind of something we talked about. I really wanted to know what it was going to look like for them bringing an LSU team into that place, knowing the conversation has kind of been around the two teams for the past decade, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, I'll first off start by saying it was hostile. LSU's a different level.
Yeah.
LSU.
Oh, yeah.
Respectfully.
And then you're not a fan. You're not an LSU fan. You just cover LSU.
He's already said this. He's already put that out there.
Look, I came down here. I was an SEC guy, but I've also covered football in the ACC, for multiple years. And I think, Jared, I don't remember, but I'm guessing you played at Auburn. Did y'all play at Auburn?
Yes. Great place.
Very comparable to Auburn in terms of about an 80,000 feet stadium, but it gets loud. Like, that place gets really loud. It's tough to play. So I think it was it's a great environment. It was really cool. One thing I liked about it, I will say, is the press box is open air, but it's also, the students are right in front of us. Like, they can turn around and shake our hand, which was weird. We had some great interactions with some Clemson students there. But all that being said, you got to feel the atmosphere. Great atmosphere. It's one that you should always. I think people should try to go to. But in terms of comparing it to what you're going to see, you're going to see it this weekend. But next weekend when Florida comes to town, no, it's middle. I'll say middle tier SEC venue. Is that fair? Like, we say
I think
that?
that's fair. I think that's fair.
Middle tier.
Yeah, I like that.
It was great though. I'm not trying to knock it. It's just not.
Yeah, right.
I got one thing to knock on it. I really do.
Go ahead. Yeah.
One thing.
The run down the hill?
I did not know that they got in a damn school bus to drive around to the other side of the stadium. To run down the hill. I thought they was just coming out the locker room, walking up the stairs, and here we go on the hill.
So, long story short, you guys have known this. I've done some broadcast work. So about 2 years ago, I went up there and I did a full weekend of stuff with the ACC network in terms of like some of the secondary sports, and it was the spring game. So I was there with my dad. We went to the game, and I had never been before. And so we were like, let's just go. Like, walk in, just kind of, we've never been to the stadium, let's do it. Yeah. So we walk in, and obviously they're doing their Tiger Walk. And so they walk in on the side of the stadium that is like the big parking lot tailgating area. And we're like, oh, okay. But then you get into the stadium, you're like, their entrance is on the totally other side of the stadium. So, like, I know people they've got tunnels where people can go. I understand that, but it was kind of weird. So no joke, they go right back out that door, they do Tiger Walk. They take a bus where there's fans still that are not in the stadium or not at the game, and it's about a minute and a half, 90 seconds, I think they say, for them to get around. They get off the bus. Now look, I get it, I understand it, it's weird, it's whatever. Cold. The weirdest part to me, though, is this cannon that they shoot off that looks like a BB gun I had when I was like 6 years old. Like, I don't know what that is, but it's weird. I understand it. It's unique, and
it's a steep hill, isn't it? Isn't it pretty steep?
Dude.
I'm watching these guys run down.
Hurt himself seriously is ridiculous.
That's what I'm saying. I'm watching these guys run down, and they're like jumping and they're skipping. I'm like, How do you not?
Well,
Like,
it's
that's a
blowing
steep
up
hill.
in
It's
the
like the
air.
ads, like you're drilling, like
then it flattens out, and then it goes back to it.
Yeah.
That's
So
all-
like just think about it. If you've got like a legitimate like broad jump and you take off the top and you go over the lip, like you got to be prepared to set your feet and
saying.
keep going because you're not landing on the flat part. So that to me is no, it's unique. A lot of LSU fans on our message board were like, "What the heck is this?" And I think this is cool. I will say Clemson. Cultish a little bit like A&M.
That's
there
what-
are some cult vibes.
that's
to
what
it.
Lloyd. That's what Lloyd
Look
said.
at Lloyd.
That's
Look
what
at
Lloyd
Lloyd.
I
said.
will say that. So yeah,
It's
I will say
A&M
that.
light.
Yeah, that's what Lloyd said. Bryce, I want to ask you this. We talked about the rotation in the secondary. The running back rotation was a little interesting to me. They used Juwan Johnson a whole hell of a lot more than I thought they were going to use him. You didn't really see Caleb Jackson much. You didn't see Harlan Berry that much. And then you had the wide receiver rotation where you didn't see a ton of Chris Hilton. You didn't see a ton of Nick Anderson. You saw a lot of Aaron Anderson. You saw a lot of Xavier Thomas. He had some work in the backfield and at wide receiver. He threw a pass, which was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that was a design because of how Clemson was attacking LSU, or like the game plan against Clemson based off they're not going to let us beat them over the top, so we're going to have to go underneath, so we're going to use some of our smaller receivers? Or is that just kind of what the rotation is going to look like through the course of the year?
Interesting question. My coworker Matthew Bruni and I talked about this on the drive back, and this is where we've kind of sat with this. I think it was an intentional game plan to help your offensive line.
That's what I think too.
Because you knew they had guys that could get after you. And credit the offensive line. I mean, Nussmeier had to clean pocket for the most of the day. But you knew that you were going to have a lot of one-on-one battles, whether it was Weston Davis on Will Helt or TJ Parker or vice versa with Tyree Adams. And then up the middle, right? I mean, you knew left guard was going to be a question mark. Paul Babinga, Braylon Moore, Josh Thompson were going to have their hands full there with, the big number 11 in the middle. And that joker, he won some battles, by the way. He's really, really good. That being said, I think the downfield passing game is a question that everyone's going to have in the big games because, like, you're going to get out there Saturday and you're going to be able to throw the ball to Chris Hilton and Nick Anderson. And we joked, like, is this going to be a year where Nick Anderson and Chris Hilton have like 23 catches, but they've got like 500 yards and 6 touchdowns apiece because you just bombed them in the games that you could, but you really didn't in the other ones? I don't know. I mean, that's not a disrespect to them. I think it was an intentional game plan to help you out.
Yeah.
And I think it's honestly something, too, they're going to utilize over and over again because Aaron Anderson, I've said this multiple times, he is the number one receiver on this team because there's such a great connection between Nussmeier and understanding. You can see the awareness of Aaron, like as a play continues to develop where
He makes
needs
tough
to be.
catches.
Oh my gosh. The throw that Nuss made a lot of great throws. The throw that he makes in between 3 defenders in the middle of the field
Behind
and keeps
him?
it low. Oh man, I mean, like that's ridiculous. Like it's that connection. You know your guys can go get it. You're going to put it where he can go get it. So I think they're going to use Aaron Anderson. They're going to use Barry and Brown. And they're going to use Xavier Thomas both in the run game and the passing game. And they're going to say, beat us like that. We think our defense is the best in the country, and we're going to utilize our running backs. We're going to utilize these 3 receivers and see if you can beat us that way. Because, look, I mean, you're going to have to get pressure on Nussmeier regardless. So when you play Florida, and they've got 2 really good defensive linemen and a solid group of linebackers, all right, come after us. We're going to dink it right over their head. I mean, there's a play where they run Aaron Anderson, right behind Clemson's defensive line. You can see the offensive line that kind of gives some ground, and it's on purpose. And Clemson flows forward, and Aaron Anderson takes it, and he spins, goes back up the middle of the field, about a 15, 20-yard gain. So to your point, I think it's a mix. You're going to see Nick Anderson and Chris Hilton get involved.
Yeah.
But if they can go out and beat teams with those 3 speedy guys running crossers, drags the entire time, and utilize their running backs,
They
and the
use the
defense
screen
plays like
game.
they are,
They use the
you
screen
don't really
game a
have
lot
to
more.
go deep down the field.
Yeah, and they used the screen game a lot more this past weekend than they have in the last few years, and not just the normal screens. They had a bunch of different varieties of screens, and to a bunch of different people. And I thought that was really was nice to see. It was a lot more creative than what they've done in the past. I still the Xavier Thomas in motion and putting him out the backfield and running basically the count, like that was, to me,
That's my favorite play of the whole night, to be honest with you. I mean, and using Caleb Jackson as a lead blocker.
Right.
Like, go back and watch it. So Josh Thompson, Peter Woods is playing, I guess, I don't remember what he was playing right over Thompson, I think, in between the center and the guard. So Thompson just kind of not throws him aside, but just kind of, walls him off a little bit, and Woods beats him. And you can tell Peter's like, I'm about to make this tackle for a 1-yard gain. Here comes Caleb Jackson, lead fullback, off that play. He takes him out, and now Xavier Thomas has to make one cut, and he has a 15, 17-yard carry. So, no, man, Xavier Thomas is a dynamic weapon. I think he only had one carry and two carries and one catch. If they get him involved more and more, he's a kind of a one-cut-and-go guy. They're going to have a lot of success. And then you mentioned the screen game, right? I mean, I was surprised, to be honest with you, that Juwan Johnson was the second running back off the bench. Like, I mean, that is something. And, I think a lot of it has to do with the situation in that room in terms of you don't have JT Lindsey available. Harlem Berry is still learning. Caden Durham's there, but you can't run him into the ground. And Caleb Jackson just is not where they need. I don't think he fits what they're really wanting to do right now with all the speed on the field. So, Juwan Johnson, I mean, they look like me and EA playing, just spamming the same play over and over again. That one drive.
Yeah,
where they
3 times in a row.
I said,
oh my gosh!
Just stop it! And Clemson couldn't stop it. It was like they were just smashing triangle.
Turbo!
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was crazy. But no, there's so many weapons, and I think that they could be. I like what you said. It's more creative, and it's an extension of the run game too. So everything is done to help out this offensive line. And the last thing I'll say on that is I love that they stuck with the run game.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. That first half, I was beating my head against the wall, like, just open it up.
A lot of people were.
But to Joe Sloan's credit, and he knows more than us, to Joe Sloan's credit, he stayed with it, and it set some things up in the second half for them to run. And you saw them do that, get passes over the middle of the field, get Nussmeier rolling out a little bit more. And it set it up, and Durham, like I said, finished 17 for 74. You were respectable enough in that category that they couldn't, load the box against you and dare you to do something else, or not load the box
against a good front seven. Against a very talented front seven. I know
they're good.
I know they had their issues last year with stopping the run. Obviously, that was an emphasis on them, and they obviously worked on that in the offseason. So they're talented and good. So doing what you did to be able to keep the run game alive and, like you said, set things up is a huge thing. Now, in these big games, they're obviously extremely physical. A lot of times you come out of these games and then there's some bumps and bruises. Some people get banged up. What's the health of the team look like after a game like this? Everybody came out relatively clean.
Yeah, Tyree Adams had a boot on his left foot, but he joked. I asked him how it was after the game, and he says, "Oh, I'd play another one right now. Like I'm good. Like this is just precautionary." And obviously he left the game for maybe 2 or 3 plays. DJ Chester slid in at left tackle, and so I think Adams was one maybe you would look at there as well.
Damian Ramos, little pride knee thing, I think, right there.
Yeah, I don't. I'll be honest with you. I sat in the press box and said, I was like, he's not making this field goal. Like, I was like, I said it. I was like, yeah, he's not making this one. But Whit Weeks, I believe, got up gingerly 1 or 2 times.
Yeah.
But he's also a raging psychopath, so he's going to play in whatever. I don't know what NIL deal he has with whatever energy drink, but he'll just throw a couple of those in there and some whatever, and he'll be fine to play. So there's nothing major. And we'll obviously hear from Kelly tomorrow if there is in terms of that. But I think everyone was, good, clean. Tyree Adams is probably the only one you're like, okay, hopefully you don't have to play him a full 60 minutes this weekend against Louisiana Tech.
Yep. Lloyd got one for you, and we'll let you go.
Well, thank you, Mikey. Do you think that with all the emphasis put on 1-0 and LSU obviously goes 1-0 for the first time, do you think there's a little bit of a letdown factor going into this because the celebration was real? Like I was there, you were there, you saw how much it felt off of LSU fans, off of the LSU team. Like it was obviously a monumental win, but how much of that do you think that they were able to wipe off and go 1-0 again?
Well, it's La Tech.
Are you asking me,
that's the
I
problem.
think they're going to lose this week? No,
I'm not asking you that. I'm saying, like, if there's a drop-off, like, do you think that this was built up so much that it was, okay, that was such a big deal, where do you find the juice again? Jesus, y'all could have never played sports.
Jeez, Lloyd, what do you think we're in? Week 9 already? Good God. Season just started. You think you're fatigued already?
No,
Emotionally.
I know what you mean.
I got him. I get
Thank
what he's
you.
saying.
Yeah, a
I think
football
from an
player.
emotional standpoint,
There's a
from going-
football player talking.
From
going from such a high game in an off season that was built around
Ain't even
winning
played
this
a home game yet, Lord Jesus.
winning this game, the whole off season's that, all fall camp is that. They got their whole mantra around being 1-0. I can see a bit of a letdown, and okay, now that that's done, then you're playing a La Tech now. Now, granted, they should still win pretty.
No, I'm not even talking about La Tech, but it's like, how do you get up again? Because it was so much was on it, and you do it, and it's like, okay.
Well,
Or maybe they need a little bit of letdown so they can get back up for Florida. So
There you go.
see, look,
So
There you
maybe
go.
that-
There you go.
glass half full
La
right
Tech to
there.
cover.
Silver linings,
Yeah,
baby.
that's it. And look, to your point, Bryce, you had mentioned earlier, you felt like everybody's bought in. I think that's how. I don't want to answer the question for you, but in my opinion, that's how you avoid the letdown. Because you said that everybody's bought in. You have a majority of the team bought into what they're going. Am I correct, or Bryce? I'm gonna give it to you.
Well, I'll say this, and yeah, I mean, I don't think that you're gonna. This is if they lose this game on Saturday, this is getting clipped. You could borderline roll the ball out there and win on Saturday. Like, you have a distinct talent advantage where it shouldn't be a problem. You better avoid, like you said, going into halftime where the score's like 17-9. You're winning. Like, you don't want that. That might be the letdown to refocus, and then you go on and you win the game 44-17 or something like that. That being said, I don't know if you. My question would be, I'd be super disappointed. Not my question, I guess my statement on it. Super disappointed if you can't get back up for Florida.
Right.
Because they beat you last year.
Right.
Like, made you look bad in their place last year. And, they keep saying 1-0, 1-0, and I think that's a good mentality to have. But so could there be a letdown this week in terms of the juice isn't going to be there? Yeah, but it's the first home game. I think the fans are going to turn out and be rowdy just because they're so excited what happened last week. So does that carry over the full 60 minutes? We'll see. But, man, I'll tell you this. This is not insider trading information. I was on the elevator with Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler on the way down.
Hey.
And
don't hurt your arm.
made the connection because I was wearing a polo where Kirk has played golf before. So then he asked me a question about it. And then we were talking a little bit, and he said, hey, pretty good shot that if Florida takes care of business this weekend and LSU takes care of business, we're going to be back. Our game day will be there.
Insider Bryce Coon!
Breaking news.
Breaking
news alert.
To me. I don't know if they wanted you to tell that yet.
No, well, what, they pay me, and I won't tell them anything. That's, give me a contract. So,
You just got hired!
that's it. Let's come on, man. I'm freely putting my name out there for anybody who's interested. In all seriousness, though, like if you have to manufacture getting up for a big game every single time,
Right.
you probably don't have the right guys in the locker room. Like, that would be my take on it. So I think they're going to be fine. I think there is a chance where you get to the end of the first quarter against Louisiana Tech and, maybe you're winning 14-7. And you're like, okay, what's going on here? But we'll see. I mean, I don't expect – Lloyd, I'm not going to get on this show and say that, Louisiana Tech's coming into Tiger Stadium and winning the football game, which I think you were trying to get me to say. But
Nuh-uh. I would
Lloyd,
never.
Bryce, I don't know if you've seen the bottom, the
lower
banner at the
third?
bottom. But Lloyd's, promoting.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
You said you're open for
I'm
hire.
this too.
What is
I need the money.
Lloyd's going to treat me like this after
He's a father.
I mean,
Lloyd.
It's
Hey,
unbelievable.
there's a
like
market
this.
for that.
Yeah,
I,
somebody's into it.
well,
Bryce,
okay.
I'm not gonna
I've given
I'm
away
not gonna
insider
subject you to
secrets,
this.
and now apparently I'm affiliated with an adult content website. So there goes any opportunity for me just.
Is
put
that
the
what that
resume
is?
out there.
I
I'm
had
not
no clue.
listen. I'm not gonna subject you to any more of this abuse from Lloyd. Dude, we appreciate you coming on every Monday. We really do.
Subscribe.
Your insights are great. You understand what we're trying to get at. So we appreciate you. We'll have you back on again next Monday. After a not letdown this weekend against Louisiana Tech.
Yeah, we'll talk Louisiana Tech winning 37-14 over LSU because
Guggenheim's going to Tech. Got one year
Guggenheim
left.
transferred.
I
Yeah,
know he
that's right.
transferred.
Jeez.
Okay.
Yeah,
Bryce.
I appreciate it, fellas.
Yep.
Thanks so much.
Enjoy your Monday, man. Appreciate you. Did you just change that?
Uh-huh.
Because I was like, I've been looking at that all day. I didn't see.
I was watching him type it. I was like, is he typing that up right now? I was like, what's changing right now?
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, look, vibes are high, right? Everybody's excited. First big win. I like the fact that they're playing Louisiana Tech. I don't think there's going to be a letdown. I like that you kind of get back in the swing of it. You're back at home. It's your first home game before you play Florida at home in 2 weeks. And look, there's a lot of things that were good. There's also a lot of things that you want to continue to work on, getting rhythm.
Clean up.
You don't have a preseason in college football, right? So, like, you had a big game. You have another game. You have some young guys. Figure out your running back rotation. Jawan Johnson obviously wasn't a running back up until this year. So get him some more reps. Get some young guys on the secondary, some young guys on the defensive side, some reps. Get the receivers and the quarterback on the same page. I think it's good. I don't think there's going to be a letdown. I think there's a lot to be focused on going into the Tech weekend.
I think if they have,
I honestly think it'd probably be more of a letdown situation if they somehow found a way to lose that game. Like,
Right.
I think with what's going on over the last 5 years since 19, like I think losing that first game has kind of been a oh shit, here we go again type situation. I think they are at a spot where it's like, oh, it's real. When everything we've been telling ourselves over the entire offseason, I think we are that. Like I feel like there's even more of a rejuvenation of we're back, if you will. And I think that's kind of where you are at this spot. I don't see letdown in this situation.
Cam, I want to ask you this.
bring it.
So, LSU football, right? You were playing in the era of LSU football when we were doing this, right? Like y'all were like that class that like got us
growth phase.
Yes.
You know what I like is they're very foundational. I always think about that, and I'm like, we're kind of the team that really started it off. I mean, granted, it was a couple years before I got there. I got there in 2002.
Right.
So it was a couple years of saving before I got there, but that was really foundational from where LSU is now.
Correct. And y'all's defense, right? When everybody talks about LSU's defense, this is what the LSU defense looks like in the past. They point to that. That's when it really started. Like y'all are there. Y'all had, you know what Marcus. I mean, y'all had everybody on the defense, right? You had a ton of guys that played a long time in the NFL, and it was an aggressive attacking defense with sticky coverage on the back end, right? And so when you look at this defense, when we look at this defense as fans, that's kind of what we go back to. You were there, boots on the ground. You were part of that defense. Do you see similarities in this defense and kind of how y'all played back then?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, outside right now they're running a 3-3 defense. We ran our 4-3, but it's still the mentality is the same, right? So they're very much aggressive. They're attacking. Blake Baker is going to be out there blitzing. I mean, what we say earlier, he blitzed 57% of the snaps, so he's coming out to pressure him, and he got the talent now to do that, right? So they got they got some DBs in there, they got cornerback transfers and so on and so forth that can actually cover, and they're actually doing a great job holding on to receivers. So you get some guys that can cover man-to-man for 4 seconds, which doesn't seem like a long time to somebody who's not playing, but it's a long time to cover somebody. Right. You can get pressure on a quarterback, and then we got some great pass rushes between the Weeks brothers, between obviously Perkins. I was about to say Micah Parsons.
I wish you had Micah Parsons. That'd be great.
But
a little expensive for us, I think.
To me, I think they're very similar, though. I think they've kind of I won't say wasted, but they didn't use him to his full potential the last couple of years. I think they were trying to make him a stand-up linebacker. To me, he's a pass rush expert, right? Yeah. So line him up in different places and let him wreak havoc. And obviously, he's a great spy. He's got tremendous closing speed, so you can do that. You can line him up wherever on the field, get some pressure on the quarterback. And I think that's where he's going to be utilized more this year than he had been in previous years, which should be big.
Jared, you got one for Cam?
Yeah, I got one for you, man. I would love for you to kind of give people a little bit of the mindset that it takes, because I think when we got a chance to see with LSU's defense this week, and then if you watch college football at all, obviously anybody else, what you didn't see from Alabama's defense this week, take me through the mindset of playing with just like crazy, relentless effort, and how do you do that kind of stuff play after play after play? Because obviously one gets tired, but like how does someone go out there and give that kind of effort play after play, and then obviously game after game?
I think it becomes a standard, right? So when obviously I played Nick Saban for 3 years, and that was the standard. He talks about the process and so on and so forth. You're expected to give all out effort. You got in grading sessions, you got a loaf if you change speeds, right? So if you were going slower at any point in the play, you got minuses. So it's got to be all out attack. It's got to be full go all the time. And even Muschamp used to say on a regular basis, like even if you mess up, do it at 100 miles an hour, right? Everybody be on the same page. Obviously, under Nick Saban defense, it was complicated. There was lots of checks. There was lots of different coverages. But if everybody's playing the same defense and everybody's giving all that effort, you can make a lot of good stuff happen. And we had a bunch of talented players, like you were mentioning, Kyle Williams, Marcus Spears, Chad Lavallee,
Marquise Hill.
Marquise Hill, rest in peace, Corey Webster, Travis Daniels. We had so much talent on those teams, like it was crazy. Most of those guys spent significant time on NFL rosters. But when you have guys, and the standard is to go out and bust butt every play, the whole play, and make stuff happen, it's just kind of it is. And it's that way with everybody, right? So you get into a dominating game, and we had it in my time there. Alabama had their last couple of years under Saban. Your ones are out in the third quarter, and the twos are in, and they're still coaching hard. They're still getting dog cussed, even with a 30-point lead. And the standard is the standard.
Don't give up that shutout.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's in the game. Whoever, they got to be doing it right. They got to be doing it with effort. So I think once you are legit, coach that to a level, it's ingrained in you, and you have to do that, and that's just how it is.
I'm glad you brought up Saban, right? Because you got to play for him here, right? And then obviously Alabama, went through their outrageous stretch from 2000. He got there in 2008 on. I mean, they won six national championships or whatever it was at Alabama. He leaves. DeBoer comes in. Last year they go 9-4. Then they get smacked this past weekend against Florida State. Felt like they didn't have that physicality. It felt like they weren't, living up to the standard that he had kind of set. You played for them here, and you kind of, were part of that standard. And then you're looking at what they're doing in Alabama. Can you talk about some of the stuff that you saw or did not see this past weekend based off of what you know of a Saban-type defense and Saban-type team?
Yeah, I think, some of it, like y'all was just saying, that effort wasn't there. You'd have guys that are not finishing plays. But I think it's almost like they believe that, they're Alabama and Alabama's supposed to win, right? And that's just not the case anymore. Certainly in the transfer portal era, in the NIL era, when the talent is more evenly distributed, you can't just go out there and expect to win a game. So the fact that they're not giving that effort, and then obviously Florida State had a quarterback who was cocky, arrogant. He was like, Nick Saban ain't here to save you, and I'm gonna go ahead and show you, and I'm gonna let everybody know. And they went out and did it. So obviously Florida State had a team that believed that, and they were behind him on that. So they came and they showed up, and then Alabama tried to roll out their head, roll out the helmet and say that they're Alabama, and it wasn't enough.
Yeah, I mean it was. I had never seen. Even last year. Right, when Alabama lost, it didn't look like that.
18 loafs.
18 loafs. 18 minuses.
You talked about it.
You did.
It is.
I mean, they had 18 plays where they were just jogging, not getting after it.
I'll say this too. It's kind of crazy how long it takes to build up that equity in terms of when people see you walk into the stadium, or when people walk into your stadium, you immediately have that mental edge over them. Like, that's been at Alabama for almost 20 years now, right? The last 20 years almost. How quickly that shit can be gone, right? Yeah. Like, you see 1 year last year, and there's already people walking in like, nah, Nick ain't here no more. We're not scared of y'all no more.
Yep.
And then they walk in and they play them with a completely different confidence. And I think at this point, that quickly, Alabama has already switched to the side of not even like the fear. You're not feared anymore. People feel like you're gettable, and they approach you like that. And when people take that mindset to you, it becomes a different outcome of how they play you. So it's kind of crazy seeing how quickly that stuff can turn, because it takes so long to build it up. It's kind of like working out, right? Like, you work out, and you finally get to the spot where you feel great, and then you take a week off, you get hurt, or you're not active for another week, and all of a sudden you're like, how did it go away so quick? Like, that's kind of the same mindset. It's kind of the same thing that's happened.
Yeah, no, it's LSU's finally getting back to that, right? They're trying to get back to that standard.
Chips are passing in the night,
right? Which is wild, which is a wild thing. Listen, it's still, they're not a bad team. Like, Alabama's not a bad team, so you can't look at them and say, oh, they're not going to be good. Like, look, it's for game one. They may figure it out, and it may look a lot different. You could have said that about LSU last year, and they kind of figured it out for a minute, and then, I'm not saying it's over for them, but the fact of them going 12-0, 11-1, and being the playoff top 4 team every single year like that, that doesn't seem like that's going to happen. And the portal, and NIL, all that stuff. The new age college football has really changed that, has created parity in the game.
Yeah, definitely. That's probably Alabama's probably the biggest loser of the NIL,
Yeah.
I think, transfer portal era, just because kids used to come out of high school, go to college with the hopes of making the NFL. Alabama and Nick Saban was that route, right?
Yep.
I think, everybody, Saban's coach for 2 years, whatever that stat is, won a national championship, right? You're on TV, you win national championships, you're getting exposure, you're getting coached by the best. You have a great chance of going to the NFL after playing for Saban. But now, out of high school, you can collect a check day one.
Right.
So, and it doesn't matter where you're going, right? You can go to Oregon, you can go to Texas, you can go to LSU, you can go to Alabama.
And you can
get
leave.
those checks. And then you can leave shortly thereafter.
Free agent every year.
So it used to be Alabama was collecting talent and hoarding talent.
Yep.
So their twos would be starters in most other places, where now it's a much more balanced playing field, and they can't do that anymore. And I think once people can see that they're beatable,
Yep.
right? Once you see that chink in the armor and it's exposed, people go after it. So I think that's a big thing against, it's not that fear factor. It's kind of like we're talking about, La Tech this week at LSU. If LSU comes out, and La Tech think there's a chance, right? We're going to go out and we're going to fight and blah, blah. And then LSU comes out in the first quarter and drops 21 on their head.
Yeah.
A game gets really, really easy after that, right?
Yeah, right.
But if at halftime the game is 7-7, it gets a lot harder because now they're starting to believe, we can hang with these guys. They're human. We can do it. So that belief factor, it really plays a big role in it.
Let's bring it back to LSU, because obviously I want to talk about the game. I want to talk about what they did. I'll recap it a little bit. I know everybody kind of knows what happened, but the defense was. We've talked about it a lot. The defense was
Stout.
like significantly better than they have been in the past, right? And I think you were a middle linebacker. You were someone who had to kind of be the quarterback of the defense and kind of get everybody right. Talk us through the linebackers that they have. Obviously, Whit Weeks, he just said Bryce said he's a psychopath, right? Like he runs all over the place. You have Harold Perkins who's playing the star. I know they're not running the same scheme that y'all ran, but you still have to understand where you're going. You still have to direct people. Whit Weeks is that guy. Obviously, his brother's there. Talk about the linebacker play and kind of how, what you liked about what they did over the weekend.
I mean, they played aggressive, like you said. Weeks is a psychopath. He's running around. He's crazy excited. Like he looks like a movie character. He looked kind of like a small Lattimore from the program.
Yeah.
The program. He's like that guy. He seems so excited to
Seat
be
at
there.
the table.
Seat at the table. So he probably did that this year. Everybody knew he was starting this year. He probably saw it was like starting defense, place at the table. But yeah, he seems wild, and he's got that passion. He's a great leader, obviously. And then it spreads throughout the team, spreads throughout the defense for sure. So you have those guys, you can get them lined up. I don't believe, it doesn't seem like they do a whole lot of checking out of things. I think they get up and line up and run their plays, which I think is a huge benefit for a lot of people because there's not a lot of thinking. It's like, okay, here's the play. This is the formation. I'm about to go out there and do this. And it allows you to play fast, it lets you to play instinctively and make stuff happen. So that's huge. I think he probably gets some enjoyment from playing with his brother, so that's a plus too. I was thinking, though, I saw on Clemson's first touchdown drive, or first touchdown play, actually, I think.
Crack?
Both Weeks brothers
got white real quick.
I was like, ooh, that's the downside of playing with your brother. You can like it's great. You can highlight reel, this, that, and the other, and y'all can take all the pictures together, this, that, and other. But man, there's a play where the fullback blows up one and the running back smashes through the other. It's like, ooh, that's rough.
I thought honestly, that's a big running back. He's like what 6'3".
He's a converted wide receiver.
I know, but he's a big dude, right?
He's 6'2", 235.
Yeah, so that's
Richard Murphy.
Richard Murphy. Look at that. Look at you bringing that back out there. Jared, you got one?
Yeah, I got one for you, Cam. Do you, for this LSU team, that win in week one being what it was, do you think that this is a big deal going forward for them, or do you think it's business as usual? We expected that, and then that's how we move forward.
I think hopefully they keep that 1-0 mantra. I think that 1-0 mantra is going to be that thing for the rest of the year. Each week is going to be a week of its own. I do think it's a big deal. I think for Brian Kelly personally and job security and all those things, hot seats, so on and so forth, I think that's a big deal for them to finally have an opening game win. It's obviously always better to be 1-0 than 0-1. But I think playing a top-ranked opponent on the road and dominating them defensively and playing very well offensively, I think it leads to confidence, and then and you can improvements down the road, right? We did this without playing a perfect game. We did this without playing our best game at all, and we still came out of there with a win. So what can we do at home? What can we do when we play and we're hitting on all cylinders?
Jared, watching the game, right? And I know you said you're just rewatching it a little bit before the show. Mm-hmm. Why are you laughing at me like this? Why you look like you're about to start laughing at me?
Who, me?
Yeah, I thought you're grinning. I thought you're.
No.
You're watching the game.
Very serious show.
You're watching the game. You watch the game live, then you're obviously rewatching it. Give me something that you saw in the game, right? That I don't want to say shocked you, but something that you could point out and say, "Man, this was maybe better than I thought it was going to be."
I brought this up to y'all earlier. I actually pulled up to the game probably maybe a series or two into the game, so I kind of missed the beginning of it. I was driving. I had it on, but I wasn't really locked in and paying attention. I kind of got some goosebumps watching it back today, watching either the first or second drive, and we got third down. We're bringing blitz. We're bringing pressure. We're heating them up with secondary players and getting home with a corner blitz on a third down. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
This feels like old school LSU football.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This feels like, obviously it's not the same position, but this feels like LaRon Landry coming from 15 yards deep and absolutely leveling someone. Like, that's what it felt like at that point. I'm like, if we're doing this in game one, on the road too, because, being able to do those kind of things at home it's great. Don't get me wrong. But when the other team can't really communicate, so they don't know who's being who to pass off, they don't know who's taking who, they don't know where the threat is that they're accounting for, and you're able to do that at home, like it's great. Like, that's why you play at home. That's the home field advantage. But when you can do those things on the road, and they have every opportunity to communicate what they need to, and you're still able to scheme it up and get through like that, that makes you feel like, okay, this is different. And so seeing that back today made me go, oh, wow, yeah, like I love this. Like, I knew about, the 31 yards given up. I knew everything. Like, they basically made them a one-dimensional team. But to go back and start seeing that today, I was like, okay, that's when you know it's different, and that's when I felt different about what I was seeing.
Lloyd, you have anything that you liked?
Yeah, I wanted to ask Cam a little bit, like, from what you saw from what LSU was doing defensively. Like, obviously there was we talked about it on Friday, Thursday, whatever it was, pre-recorded, fake recorded, whatever it was. There was a world in which they were saying, like, you can spread Harold Perkins out wide and use him as how you dictate your offense. Like, you put him in a set where he's playing the star, obviously. And it's like, if you put him on a wide receiver, he can dictate and he has to declare what he does defensively. Do you think you saw enough from him in one game to be able to be like, no, actually what people perceive to be his weakness is actually his strength?
Yeah, I mean, I think in each situation where you can try to move him out of the box offensively, I don't think he's going to be in a man-to-man situation, right? Yeah. So I think that would probably declare that up pretty easily. Or maybe on a short yardage type, like a 3rd and 5 type situation. I don't think he's ever been in a situation man-to-man where he has to cover a receiver downfield or even a running back downfield. So even if you spread him out, he can still do his thing. I mean, he's an athlete, right? I mean, obviously his knee is in good shape, so he was moving around. He didn't have any limps, so he didn't seem to be moving slow at all. So I think even if you try to spread him out, you have to empty your backfield out for first and foremost, and then assume that he's going to be the guy that moves out, because they could also move out one of the weeks to cover a running back out of the backfield as well. No.
What? I mean, you can do what? Probably. I mean, what?
No, not so much. But
milk check.
Personnel is going to be a factor in that as well. But I mean, I don't know that you could offensively be like, this is how we're going to handle him. We're going to spread these guys out, because then, I mean, largely you have to be in 5 wide situations majority of the game, and nobody wants to do that for the most part, right? So I think that would be a really big ask to try to do offensively.
You know what I like? And I mentioned this before the show, or during the beginning of the show. We talked about, Jared, you talk about the blitzes and bringing the corner and doing those types of things and getting home. I like the fact that we saw every third down pass attempt, for the most part, was contested by our secondary, right? They were getting their hands on balls. We haven't seen that in 3 years. They may have been in position in the right position over the last couple of years, but they just were never making any plays on any footballs.
So a whole lot of back of jerseys.
Right. And even if they were in position, they were out of position. The ball was being caught. They weren't the ball was never on the ground. right? And what I saw outside of the one interception from Mansour Lane was everything was hard for the offense, especially in the passing game, and everything was there's a hand. I mean,
contested.
There was probably 3 catches. I mean, the one that Bryce talked about was P.J. Woodland was on him, and literally the ball
kicks it to him. He kicks it to himself.
Went through his arm. Like, it was just like those are the types of catches that they had to make, and that is a sign of a really good defense. They know where they're at. They're not getting beat, and they're being aggressive when the ball's in.
And cleanly too, because did they have any pass interference calls?
No.
I don't think they had any PIs either. So they're doing it clean.
No, let me add to that too. You know what was funny? I don't know if you ever noticed this too. If you're watching a game from like the TV view, especially because you don't get the full 22, you can't see it all. When I see a quarterback drop back, take his hitch, maybe pat the ball once, and then deliver confidently, I'm expecting that receiver to be wide open.
Correct.
Honestly, I expect the camera to pan to it, and there's at least 2 to maybe 5 to maybe nobody in the screen type of separation. There was multiple times that I felt like Klubnik did that, and they pan the screen, and it's double coverage, or it's thrown 2 feet, 10 feet high. It's nowhere near, and it was like, wow, we're making this thing hard for him, or he's not as good as what people say he is. One of the two, I'm going to go ahead and guess is we're making this hard for him. Because he would literally step back in rhythm, pat it, throw it confidently, they pan the camera, and it's in the double coverage. I'm like,
where
did they do that at?
Yeah.
That happened multiple times to me, and I was like, either we're really good or he's not as good as what they talk about.
Right.
One of the two.
Correct. And look, I don't think LSU is going to face there's not going to be many defenses, if any, that they face this year that is as talented as the defense they face at Clemson, right? Their front seven specifically, right? I mean, you saw Alabama give up a bunch of yards. I'm sure they're talented. They got to figure it out. South Carolina's got a pretty good, front seven, but at the end of the day, I got to see it more from South Carolina for me to really lock in and say, okay, they're going to be a team. They're good. Lenore Sellers is really good. But the fact that you were able to do what you did offensively against a defense like that, I think they're just going to continue to get better. I think we're going to be able to run the ball a whole lot better, right, over the course of the season. I think the offensive line is going to – I mean, that was the first game the offensive lines played together, right? And they played really well.
You have to give kudos.
That's only going to get better.
You have to give kudos to Sloan.
Yeah.
For as much as people want to, that was the big question mark in my mind, at least, was what's it going to look like? Because you have to scheme differently, and Bryce hit on a little bit where he was like, look, I think there's different players for different situations, and you saw them kind of pretty much execute the game plan that they wanted to do. Like, Clemson had to bow to them. Like, they brought the game plan to them offensively and defensively. Like, you have to give credit to the staff.
Right.
Because that's the big question. You have the talent. Like, you went out and paid 18 players $18 million. And it's like, okay, so you have the talent. I feel like you've identified the talent. Now it's on the staff. Blake Baker, masterclass.
Yeah.
Like, he was he made Clemson play his game.
Right.
Like, because that's when I asked about, the Harold Perkins, how do you utilize him? Or are they going to attack him, or does Harold Perkins attack you? What they did as a staff was very impressive.
No doubt. And look, it feels like the national media –
now they're all turning tail.
Well, and you know why, right? Because it
were
feels like
wrong?
over the past, you had really good. I mean, you had Jaden Daniels as your quarterback for 2 years, and then you had Nussmeier have a really good year. The offense was really good last year, but the defense never really sold you on the team. No. That's the thing. The national media is not going to buy into an LSU team with a defense that's not good, right? They're just not, because it's just your offense. If you're throwing the football 50 times a game, it's just. There's too much room for error. And now that the defense is good, the national media looks at it and say, okay, this is the LSU teams that we are used to seeing. And it's a complementary football. You have a good defense with a really good offense, and they're going to be able to mix and match together. And now they don't really have many holes. And so you're seeing that now in these conversations. Was it Heather Dinich? Is that her name?
Yep.
She was saying how LSU, she has LSU as the number one team in the country going in next year. I don't think they're going to be the number one team when the polls come out. I think they're probably going to be in the top 5 somewhere. But that they're saying that because not just because they beat Clemson, it's because of how they beat Clemson with the defense of the aggressive,
dominated every facet
type
of
of football
game
that they're playing, and so it bodes well for the future of LSU this year, and it makes the season exciting, and it makes that Florida game in 3 weeks, which hopefully game day's here, that much better.
Can I rant about polls real quick?
Please.
Because one, I think the preseason poll is stupid. The fact that anybody's ranked right now is absurd. You'll be, well, they were really good last year, or they played good in the bowl game. Like, the bowl games don't matter. Nobody cares about the bowl games. Half the people are sitting out of bowl games, which is part of the reason why they expanded the playoffs, right? To get some bowl games that are watchable. But then you're looking at, we don't know who's good. I mean, we're very excited about LSU, and they're obviously showing so much potential, and they could be great this year. But, you know, Clemson, if Clemson goes on to play somebody next week and loses by 50, LSU don't look as good, right? You know, and then, you know, so LSU's played Clemson. We don't know who's good. That's a couple years ago. LSU played Florida State. You're talking about Travis, was it Jordan Travis? Jordan Travis, right? Oh, man, this guy's killer. He's going to, you know, be a Heisman Trophy candidate. And then they went into lose like 4 straight games. I think a couple years ago happened with somebody else as well. USC, yeah. So it's just like,
Moss.
We don't know who's going to be good. We don't know who's going to be bad. The first, I say, you know, give me a month before we figure out who's going to be good, because everybody has a similar schedule, right? Either you're playing nobody for the first 2 to 3 weeks, or you play a big game, and then you play some nobodies. And so it's like, you know, LSU's playing, you know, they played Clemson, they're going to play La Tech, they're going to play Florida, they're going to play another nobody, I think Southeastern maybe after that. So it's like, after that first month, we don't know. Florida's going to be undefeated, but they also played 2 nobodies leading up to it, right? So we don't know how good anybody is for at least a month into the season. So we're going to see how that plays out.
Right. I'm glad you said that, because it's a perfect segue into the next conversation, right? We want to talk LSU all the time, but we're going to talk SEC. SEC went 14-2, right? The 2 big losses were the two of the 3 primetime games, right? Or 2 of the 3 big matchups. Alabama, Florida State, we talked about that, and the Texas Ohio State game. And I kind of want to talk about that a little bit, because you talk about preseason polls, you don't really know. They've crowned Arch Manning as the best quarterback to ever come. Paul Feinbaum said he is the best quarterback to come through the SEC since Tim Tebow. And first of all, Tim Tebow was great at Florida. But he just forgot about Cam Newton. He forgot about all the other quarterbacks that came through the SEC since then. But he says he is the most hype since Tim Tebow. Right? He hasn't done anything. He hasn't had the opportunity to do anything. He started 2 games against bad teams. Right? So they're crowning this kid. I think he's going to be fine. Right? Did he play a good game? No. But I think part of the reason he didn't play a good game is because Ohio State's defense and Matt Patricia had him confused. I mean, they were doing a bunch of different things. They were giving a bunch of different looks that he had never seen. First start of his career going on the road to Ohio State, like, that's set up for filler. And they only lost by 7 points, and they had a chance to tie the game. They actually probably should have had the game tied had he not done the tush push on 4th and 1 from the 1-yard line with Archie. Like,
that was bad. He had like no leg drive, and he just never practiced that.
Like,
he was laid down. It was terrible.
Are you telling me Newman didn't have a lot of push?
I imagine
he
just fell. He just fell
on the foul. Yeah, like, what are you doing?
It was whatever. But, you know, Ohio State gets a big win. I think Texas is good. I think their defense is really good. But you don't know until you see them play. To your point, right? You don't know who's good, who's not good. You know, it's a hard game. Quarterback is a hard game. I don't know if any of y'all watched it. I know y'all watched it. I don't know if you watched the game.
Yeah.
What did y'all think about the Texas Ohio State game? Like, what did you think about how they played, or you know, do you think Sarkisian? There's been a lot of conversation. Steve Sarkisian, you know, didn't really set Arch Manning up for success with some of the play calls. He didn't get creative. It was kind of vanilla. All these types of things. Is that some of the same stuff that you saw?
I think it was kind of vanilla just because, like you said, he's young. It's a second time, third time starter, whatever it was. And a first meaningful game for sure. Definitely the most challenging opponent for sure. So I think you try to keep it simple, stuff that in his wheelhouse that he can do. I think he definitely missed on a lot of passes that were just a little behind, or that a little low, this, that, and the other, and you missed a lot. But I think part of that too is the Paul Feinbaum's fault and all this media fault for you know, saying he's the greatest thing that ever exists. Now, if I'm Ohio, especially because you're playing Ohio State, that's not a slappy team, right? This is a team that's going to go out there with talented athletes are going to play. And now, if you're coming to my house and you're the king of quarterbacks and crowned the greatest to ever do it, I'm playing that much harder. It's like, oh, he ain't completing the pass on me. Oh, I'm gonna knock his butt out, and this, that, and all right, I don't know how we do it. I'm gonna knock his ass out. I'm gonna do this, that, and the other. We played Ole Miss at Ole Miss. I think my junior year, maybe my sophomore year, and Eli Manning's in the Heisman hunt, and it's just like, No, he ain't getting the Heisman on us. And so I think part of that plays into it, too. You have an
He
opponent
did. Y'all
that's
ruined the
playing
Heisman for him.
and we took the Heisman away from
Yeah,
him
did.
because you're not getting it on us. So it's just, I think that adds to it as well. But I mean, he's a young player. I think you're right. I think he's going to be fine. He's going to get some real game time reps. He's going to be good.
Yeah. Jared.
Yeah, I think when you're watching, like, just go back to a year ago. It truly doesn't matter how many reps you got to watch. It doesn't matter how many quality reps you got to watch. If you never really got out there when the game's at the speed that it's at, when you're playing an Ohio State team, not to mention coached by a 3-time Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator, like, when you're playing that, if you've never really played at that speed, it doesn't matter, right? And so playing at it one time now allows you to learn and understand, like, oh, shit, yeah, this is a little different, and decisions got to be made a little bit quicker and all those things because you're not used to doing that, right? Like, there's a jump from high school to college, but then if you're not really playing any of the cream of that crop in college, that jump is another jump. So, like, it's different. And so for that being the first time he got the opportunity to make that jump on this stage, on the road, and it's to open a season when there is no, like we said, cupcakes or jamborees or walkthroughs because you don't really do that much of it. I think it's crazy that we expected to see some kind of offensive, like, great offensive output, right? Like, and with that being said, just like we talked about, they were inches away from a tie ball game situation. So I think that team is going to be fine going forward. I don't know what it's going to end up being, but, like, give it time. Let it cook a little bit. I think they'll be a lot better in November than they are right now. But, yeah, obviously it didn't look great. We sit here because we're talking about this one side of it because it didn't look great. But had they won the game, the conversation would be they found a way to win and, oh, Julian Saying sucks. Yeah. Like, that's what the conversation would have been.
Correct.
And it's like, nah. You don't get – we sit here right now. Think about where we are right now as a society. Like, we'll sit here, and when Sunday comes up, there's going to be a lot of people being like, oh, just give those NFL guys about 3 or 4 weeks for them to get into it, and they'll really start hitting their stride. Well, this is NFL guys with a ton more reps than these guys, right?
Right.
And now these guys don't do any – they do very little hitting in practice. They do very little real-time, full-speed scrimmages in practice. And now you're asking them to play their first game against the cream of the crop. Well, of course it's not going to be great.
Right.
Right.
So, like, I think that's kind of where that game sat. I'm not surprised at all that it was under and it wasn't great. Let's see where this thing is going forward.
Correct.
And I guess my last little part of that, too, if you're a coach on the other side of that, and I know you're this young guy or we're that young, and I know that the game is this magnitude as our first game out of the chute, yeah, I'm probably not going to be that aggressive either in the play call.
Right.
I'm just throwing it out there, right? Like, I'm probably not going to sit here and say, hey, out the chute, let's just go ahead and throw this thing around. For what? For in that case, when you sit here and you just throw it away, and now we're like, wow, why on earth would I do that?
Yeah, correct.
So,
correct. And look, I'm not blaming either one of them. I think that it was an unfortunate circumstance. It was a tough game, and he didn't play great. He didn't play his best game in a tough game. What? You got something?
Well, I'm just going back to Cam's point a little bit because I'm with you on the preseason polls. Like, it's ridiculous, and there's no reason. But the fact of the matter is that it happens. That's a thing that people do. It feels like that Ohio State-Texas loss, like, for Texas, doesn't matter.
It's not going to matter.
It doesn't. I think and that's why we transitioned to so much more of these big, neutral site games, these big, top-ranked games early in the year because of money, right? Because now with a 12-team playoff, I can get into the playoffs with a loss. I can get in the playoff with 2 losses, depending on where I'm at and who I'm playing.
Yep.
So now it doesn't really matter that you lose those first games because if you rack it in whatever it was, $4 million or I don't know how much the teams are getting. If you're racking in all that money from the first game, it outranks the win over Southern Miss or whoever you played week 1.
Correct.
It just feels like Texas Arch Manning. Like, I mean, that plays a factor. Like, they're going to be there at the end. Like, they're going to want them around because of the TV money.
Correct. If their record allows, they're going to be.
But LSU Clemson felt so important.
Correct. I think it was more important for us. I think if you listen.
Did it though?
Well, no. I'm not saying for us like here talking about it. I'm saying it was important because the narrative of
that's the national part that I'm talking about.
I understand, but if you go listen to everybody what they were saying before, if you go listen to
there you go.
Who's the guy on
Greg McElroy?
No. Who's the guy on Game Day that does a little betting? Stanford Steve. If you go listen to Stanford Steve, he's like, listen, I think these are both playoff teams. They're both gonna get the playoffs.
Yeah.
LSU's gonna that was
Coward's
a lot of the
way
ones
out.
who kind of knew what they were talking about. That's what they're saying. Hey, listen.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good game. They're very talented. Both teams are going to be in the playoffs. It doesn't.
Yeah.
That basically doesn't really matter, right? But
this is the first time. Yeah, this is the first time we got a chance to. If you watched any of that, they set the stage early. It's kind of been the conversation on the national media. In hey, I think if LSU were if the score was flipped and LSU lost that game 17-10. And they did what they needed to do the rest of the year, shouldn't that count more than them beating Northwestern State 58-3 at home?
Correct.
In week one? And just having a win?
Correct.
For the season to start, and there hasn't been, obviously there's week 0 games played, but there hasn't been a full slate of games, a full schedule of games played yet, and they were already setting the stage saying that, hey, pump the brakes if there's a loss in week 1 or early on in the season. Lets me know that they're telling you right there is going to be some playoff teams, and a lot of them probably with losses, and we're not really going to sit here and continue to just award you just because you won. Who are you playing? What are you really putting on the line early? Those are the things that's going to start mattering more so than just how many wins you got, and that's it.
Yep. Here's an interesting stat. And this isn't for LSU. This is for the Texas Steve Sarkisian. Everybody, and I think they do this because everybody likes to hate Brian Kelly. Oh, he can't win the big game. His record in big games aren't good. All this kind of stuff, right? But they were all propping Steve Sarkisian up for a long time. He's one of the best coaches in the game. All this kind of stuff. You know what his record is against top 10 teams?
5-5.
2-8.
Oh.
That's just 2-8 versus top teams just at Texas. 5-18 versus top 10 teams all time, right? And if you go even more, he is 9-29 straight up in games versus 8P top 15 teams, including 2-11 against top 5 teams. So just because you maybe like him as a dude, the narrative hasn't been like he doesn't win big games. He doesn't win them. And that's not great.
Hey, I don't know this for sure. I could be wrong. And I'm kind of trying to search it as I'm looking at it, but I think I'm pretty much right about it. Anybody know who was the offensive coordinator in Atlanta when things went kind of bad? Was it him, or was it Shanahan at the time? I really don't know. I think.
Wait, you're talking about the
in the NFL
Patriots Falcons Super Bowl?
Yeah,
that was Shanahan.
Yeah,
that was Shanahan.
Okay, I was about to say, ooh boy, if that was him too, that's that's kind of stinky.
No, well, he had the moment in the playoff game before. I'm talking about Sarkisian. Before they went to the national championship, he's like the pass play. He's like, what are we doing? Like he had that moment where he lets people like he's the quote unquote like the artist of the offensive room. But there was a moment where they went for it on 4th down and tried to throw like a short slant or whatever. He goes, guys, what are we doing? What are we calling?
Right.
And so I mean those things can happen. LSU's not out that boat either.
Correct. No, I'm not saying he's all.
But Sark does get a lot of credit, and once you put his resume out there, it's a little suspect.
That's all I was saying.
Like, people are. I mean, I was one to do it to be like James Franklin or Brian Kelly. Now, should Sark be there?
I mean, Sark does. I mean, that's a bad record.
Yeah.
You know, for being a really good coach, which I don't think he's a bad coach, but like that's a bad record against top teams. You know, thought that was interesting. Came across that stat.
But you played in the BCS.
He's such a likable dude, though, man. It's
right.
I disagree.
His record, that's before Texas became in the SEC. So I'm wondering,
He was at Alabama.
As a head coach.
I'm talking about as a head coach.
Where was he before?
Sarkisian.
As a head coach?
This is head coach.
He was at USC, wasn't he?
USC, right?
Yeah.
And that's when he had the drinking problem.
Oh, yeah, that was before the whole rehab problem. Yeah.
And then he went to the rehabilitation school at Alabama, which
right. He was in the booth,
and then he got to get out of Texas.
But so he was
the booster program.
Yeah,
he's got a bad record against top teams, and that's largely outside of the conference. I'm trying to think the math of who he was playing at the time.
Well, I think he's 2-8 since he's been at Texas against top 10 teams.
Oh, he's at Washington too.
Oh, he's at Washington. UW. That's right. That's right.
Oh yeah.
That's right. But I think he was
Kimberly shout out in the chat.
Huh?
But
Kimberly in the chat.
Yeah, 2-8 in the SEC against top 10. That was the
2-8 in the SEC. See, I would look at that because I mean, if he was at I When was that Washington? 2000.
Was that with Jake Locker?
Like, yeah, that was like a while ago.
man.
I can't imagine Washington was all that good.
Well, I mean, you see what's happening now when you get a while.
He didn't stay there long enough anyway to
No, he was only there for like
turn that roster over either. Like that was
Because some of those
quick stint there.
I'm just saying some of those wins some of those losses against top ranked teams might have been while you were ranked terribly on a terrible team.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
got to put somebody in there.
So yeah, somebody's got to play him.
What do you think about the college football playoff now, as opposed to, because it feels like there's some conversation about they keep wanting to expand. What was your thoughts on like the BCS era? Because that's where you were a part of.
I was part of the BCS era. The 14 playoff I think was fine for me. I think the 12 team now actually works out just because of the NIL and transfer portal rules, right? So now there is a much more equitable stake as far as the talent that's on each team. So the 12 team makes more sense now. I think 12 teams, 3 or 4 years ago would have made 0 sense.
Right.
I think still now it's a little iffy just because nobody's going to be looking at the 12 seed thinking this team really might.
when they're trying to go to like 16. I'm like,
I think the Big Ten's about
just
a 2018 playoff. Like, why? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
And they
I like where you're at.
but if you're looking at, 'cause I think the FCS has the playoffs, and but for the longest time, was it North Dakota State?
every year.
They won 14 out of 15 out of a 2018 playoff.
God,
So it's
Trey
not
Lance
making.
drafted.
It's not change. It's not bringing parity to the
Absolutely
playoff.
not. The
12,
same
in
team.
my opinion, 12 teams. It needs to stop at 12. It can't be
Yeah.
any higher because at least 12 teams
I
maybe
love-
somebody can upset somebody, but like 16.
I love where it's at with 12.
Yeah,
But at the same time, I don't think that there's 12 possible teams that can win the championship.
I
every
agree
year.
with that too.
No,
Absolutely.
I don't. But I love where it's at with 12 because maybe that 8 seed's got to play that team. What was Ohio State last year? 7, 6, something
Yeah,
like
and
that.
I think Clemson was 12, right? Clemson was a 12th seed last year, and they did win.
Clemson was a 12. Yeah.
Well, I think
So,
all
like,
the low
I
seeds
love
won,
where
right?
that
'Cause
was
they gave
12, but
buys
no,
out
I do-
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah. I do not at all think that there's 12 teams that can win it every year, but I do like putting 12 teams in. It gives you the opportunity to kind of play through it and get to the other side. And honestly, if I'm going to be completely honest, man, you keep adding. This is basically the NFL schedule you're asking these kids to play.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like, the winner right now is winning 15 to 16 games. That's an NFL schedule.
yeah.
Yeah.
With 2 buys.
That's a whole lot of that's way more wear and tear on their bodies before they either go to the next level or are completely done with it. Like, that's a lot.
Yeah, correct.
For sure.
Correct.
And then going back to Lloyd's BCS comment, I say bring the machines back. You want to keep a 12
I
band
think that's
playoff,
what we're
12
getting.
team playoff?
It feels like a lot of people are like bring the BCS
Bring
back.
the
That's where
machines
I'm
back,
at.
because every week you're talking about, well, this team has these there because they have the best wins, and then the following week, well, these teams because they have the best losses, and then these teams because they had the toughest schedule. And there's no consistency when you have
And
a
those
bunch of
motherfuckers
people.
hate watching the games.
They have a bunch of people. They have their own biases. There's the
Right.
D coordinator, not the D coordinator, the AD from this school and the
Yep.
president
AD
of this
from
school.
Notre
And
Dame's
it's
on the
like, what are we
committee.
talking about?
Yeah,
It's
no doubt.
crazy.
Yeah.
Then we got
I
random
think they're
politicians.
trying to get
sprinkled in
closer
there.
to like the old system.
Condoleezza Rice is in
humanizing
there
it.
making decisions.
It's like, what's happening?
Yeah.
So put the computers in. There's a program. There's a formula, and you just enter the data, and then these 12 teams go.
Yeah, they still have it, right? Don't they have a BCS website that like ranks the top, like based off this is what it would be for the BCS?
Do they? I did
Yeah.
check that out.
Yeah, this is like based off the whatever formula they had for that. Like this is what it would be if it was in the still BCS.
But for like you and Jared, like whenever y'all were playing, it had to be like the way that you thought about the season and like the regular season was like if we lose, we're gone, like done,
It's
toast.
one and done. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't win. Now there was exceptions to that. Obviously, we had a loss when we won it. We lost to Florida.
We had 2, but it was still that same feeling though.
Yeah, but it was on the cusp because we were 3 most of the season. Well, I think we were up like 2, and then we lost to Florida, and we were 3 for a large part of the season. And then in the
Defense played great.
championship week,
Skylar
I
Green
think.
scored. That was about that.
Say that again.
Skylar Green scored, but that was it against
Yeah.
Florida. Defense played great, not you. Like you did fine. It wasn't on y'all.
Team sport. No, but I think the following week, what happened? I think Oklahoma lost in their conference championship game.
That's right, the Kansas State.
No, or USC lost in their whatever. Somebody lost in their conference championship game, and we ended up leapfrogging over them from 3-1 or whatever it was. So it was an interesting. We kind of got in the last second on that one.
Well, that's what happened in 07. with
Yeah,
Jared.
because they had two losses, right?
And then
Well,
Oklahoma.
we never lost the regulation. Dude. That shit.
That's it. 3
It's
overtime.
regulation.
That's the best pitch he's ever made.
That was actually. I was like, listen, we're undefeated in regulation.
Politician.
That's it. And then was it Kansas State that upset Oklahoma?
Darren Sproles.
Is that what happened? Right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then for Jared, it was Darrell Rivas against West Virginia.
He did a lot for my life. You know that team did a lot for us.
That was a brutal.
Oh yeah, I was McAfee in them.
Missed 2 field goals.
Yeah.
And Rivas ran a kickback, so he lives that one. Like he's still on him.
So the Oklahoma loss was their year.
Yeah.
That was their year, and then. Okay.
Yeah.
Jason
West
White,
Virginia.
Heisman winner.
It's kind of crazy how everything is
So
kind of
came after him,
cyclical.
too, 'cause again,
they're
You made him
trying
go
to-
undrafted.
back to the earlier conversation, we're like, oh, you
Oh.
you a Heisman champ? Yo, you a Heisman winner? Oh, no, not today, you're not. So you got that that extra target, you know.
You're a dentist.
Jason
I
White.
do like
I did
it.
got after
Here's
him.
the thing. I do think like everything is kind of cyclical because they're trying to bring back the strength of schedule conversation again and somehow make it to where it's not a computer, I guess, determining what is the strength of schedule, but they're bringing that back into the conversation. That's kind of bringing it back to what it was before. Like certain losses meant more than the others, and that's at the end of the day, like that should be true. Like that just is what it is. Like every loss isn't created the same, and on the other side of it, every win ain't created the same either. So we're not gonna fill the schedule with a bunch of cupcakes and just say we played our conference and but we played our conference, so we good to go. No,
Correct.
Though that schedule has to mean something, and they're not all created the same.
Well, I think the new
Y'all
rules,
should have
right?
lost to Kentucky.
The new scheduling rules, right? Is they're making the SEC. They're making the SEC have a 9-game schedule. So all the conferences are having a 9-game schedule, and then they have, and then you have to play another Power 4 conference, right?
Right.
You have to have an interconference game, and then you just have 2 other games that you can schedule. Is that the way the new schedule is going to work moving forward?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to see a lot of these. Obviously Clemson comes to LSU next year. You're going to see a lot of that, which I like. I like that too.
And then LSU already scheduled SMU for the next year.
I like that too.
Yeah.
I don't like not having divisions in the conference anymore.
Yeah, that's weird.
I think
They're,
you need to have.
you know where they're going. They're going NFL.
Well, but they're adding. So they're adding that the extra conference game, and I think they're trying by doing that. I think is going to allow them to kind of give you your. I think your
conference, East and West.
3 most rivalries in it. Yeah, so like that might help a little bit, but I did like the old school division. So yeah.
For sure.
I mean, it's wild.
That's crazy that y'all say
Alabama,
that
That's
for-
a championship game. Like,
Yeah.
You could have teams that SEC West teams or SEC East teams playing each other in that, SEC championship, which is crazy.
It's crazy that y'all say that when the SEC West was clearly by far the hardest division. Like, no, I like that better. Like Georgia got to skate for
No, it was,
10
but
years.
then you forget they had there was a run of Georgia and Florida on the other side.
And
as well,
Tennessee.
too, so
Yeah,
sure.
Georgia, Florida,
Yeah,
Tennessee for a
Yeah,
little bit.
Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, they had a run where they were all together kind of running it as well, too. So, everything kind of goes in cycles, but
And LSU had to play all of them
I understand
somehow.
what you're saying. It just wasn't always like that.
Yeah.
I think it allows you to see who's better than who. Like when you're comparing who, because now everybody in the SEC West is playing everybody in the SEC West, and everybody in the SEC. So now you can see where they stack up in the West, and then there's obviously the crossover games, so you can kind of see where that West opponent would stack up in the East.
Yeah.
I think you're missing that now because now luck or happenstance or whatever. You have some people that are playing Georgia, Alabama, Florida, and some people that are playing Vanderbilt, South Carolina.
Correct.
So it's like, what's happening?
Yeah, I just wish it's back to Santa Claus used to be real, and now they're just kind of pulling the curtain on us, and it's like this is what it looks like. Like they just got to schedule what they can to make the best playoff scenario for TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
WWE.
Speaking of TV and playoff scenario, North Carolina got off to a hot start, 7-0 against TCU. First drive of the game, ran right down their throat, scored a touchdown. Got TCU to punt. I think TCU has the ball back now, but hot start to the Bill Belichick.
What's the expectation for North Carolina?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. They went through so much, but I imagine their defense is going to be good. That's what I probably would have to
It's the Matt Patricia conversation. You have Bill Belichick scheming against 18-year-old kids.
Yeah.
You don't know what I'm going to throw at you.
Right.
But the other question is, can the 18-year-old kids that you're coaching
Understand
understand
what
the
he's
concept
doing.
that he's doing?
Yeah. And I guess if you could get a couple guys, that was always my strong suit. And that's probably why I was able to play so much because I certainly was not the most athletic or the most talented, right? But I was smart enough to understand the system. I can figure stuff out and I can line everybody up.
Yeah.
So it was like, put that guy out there.
Hey, you just tell him what to do.
Make sure the 10 talented guys know what they're doing, all right? You go do your thing.
Corey, that way.
But I mean, I guess if I had my expectation would be, I would assume that their defense is going to be good. And I don't really know. I don't know enough. I just know all the drama that happened through North Carolina.
What's the meanest thing Nick Saban ever said that you heard?
What's the meanest thing he ever said? I don't know. I mean, he just dog cuss people. He'll call you, POS and trash and this, that, and the other. He had a lot of. He was very poetic with his words. He had a lot of good metaphors and similes that he would throw. He'd say stuff like "luckier than a three-peckered billy goat." That was one. He used to tell Joe Adai, and it was a compliment, but it was the weirdest compliment. But it was like, he said, you run like you got a bag of razor blades attached to your ass, or something like that. And it was something wild like that. And it was like, what? When it was like you running hard and crazy, it was like wild. But he would do stuff. Man. He'd get into the special teams meeting and he'd be like, "Why are you not kicking back on punt?" I need to get down and demonstrate. I'm 55 years old. Dick don't work. I can do the shit. Why can't you do it?
Well, you see him now, right? Like you see him on game day now, and like it feels like his personality is like way different than it was when you see. I mean, did you see that side of him when he coached?
No.
Maybe not when you were not. Maybe not that early.
I would say and granted, I haven't talked to him since he left LSU, so I don't really know his life at all. We don't have any connection. But looking at him coaching at Alabama, certainly in the later years of Alabama, he seemed happier.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was unhappy at LSU. I think at LSU, though, he was still in grind mode.
Yeah.
I think he was still trying to cement his legacy. He still wanted to be the best. He wanted to achieve this, that, and the other. Whereas, obviously, went to the NFL, that didn't work. Goes back to Alabama and then wins 1 billion national championships. Yeah. And I came to a point where, okay, I did it. Like, you can sit down and relax and know, like, okay, I'm the best. He's freaking Thanos. He snapped everybody away, right?
Yeah.
So
every ring.
So I think at that point he kind of was happier. I was telling somebody recently this story. There was bowl games as an event every night. So when we played in the Sugar Bowl for the national championship, one of the events was like dinner on the paddle boat, and they were playing that jazz band and stuff. And then him and Miss Terry were dancing, and I think James Brown song or something. No, Dan was like, okay, he can move a little bit. It was like, have you seen him do anything fun before? It was funny because even like when he cracked a joke at practice, it was kind of like serious. Like, am I supposed to laugh at that?
Yeah.
Like it was very serious, but it was like, wait, is that funny? I don't know.
I don't know. Am I might get in trouble if I laugh at that? Yeah. I can see that. I can see that. All right, Lloyd, you want to get to the seggies?
I do have a mistake of the day, and this is more rumor than maybe true, but it's damning evidence. And this probably would have gotten more circulation.
I want to give a caveat. You don't have to join in. We do segments. We do mistake of the day, which is something that happened that Lloyd wants to make fun of the person of. That's his segment.
All right.
And then we have a curtain call, right, where it's like, hey, something good, whether it be sports or whatever, that you want to basically tip your hat to, give them a curtain call of whatever. So you didn't know this going in, so you don't have to feel obligated to do it.
If
unless
you hear
have
one you like,
head.
hop in.
All right, I'll do that.
That's it. All right, go ahead, Lloyd. Mistake of the day.
This one you probably will be up to you. Does Ryan Day have his nipples pierced?
That's a big debate. But doesn't it look like that nipple's a little lower than the other one? I don't think that's a nipple.
I mean, his nipples are low in general.
That seems pretty proportionate to me. I'm gonna be honest with you. You act like he's 50 plus, bro. Like,
I would say yeah. I mean,
what else would that be?
That doesn't look very low to me. That's just me, though.
I mean,
Ryan Day does look like he has a little weirdness to him, a little freakiness.
Yeah, but you can see the other nipple, and it doesn't look like this
one.
Oh,
so there's only one nipple pierced guy, not both.
And we've all been around long enough to know what it looks like.
I'm trying to think if it's like a mic that might be clipped up, some kind of
Yeah, but that's like a weird way for the mic to be, right?
Yeah, it's definitely nipple ring.
Hey, it doesn't have to be a mistake.
Hey, look, like whatever,
love is
whatever
love. Whatever you're into.
Boat,
whatever you're into.
Yeah. All right, Ryan Day with a nipple pierce. That's interesting. That's an interesting. I did not expect.
The fact that he does it on game day, when you would know that like cameras are on you.
Yeah.
This could be a topic.
We'll wear a looser shirt, maybe.
Looser shirt.
Get better shape.
Should have been double shirt.
Should have been warm. Nice little. Didn't think it was.
Get you a beater to put on or something. That's
tough.
correct.
Oh,
All
it was
Lloyd,
cool.
God, dog.
Tough.
Love is love.
All right, curtain call, Lloyd.
Curtain call 2. Did we talk about it before the show?
We did. We
What
said
was
it was gonna be a.
It was a group curtain call, and I don't remember it. So
It was Lee Corso.
Oh yeah. I thought about crying, didn't cry. Could have.
I see. My thing is, I didn't even get to see like the 6-minute video.
But
I watched the whole thing, and then I had to go run out the house for 6 minutes.
they did run it a lot. But you can't deny what Lee Corso has done for college football, and that it made me think a lot about, like, I've never been a part of college football without Lee
him.
Corso. And then he's now a puttering old man, and it's a little
No,
sad.
I felt bad because you could barely understand him, right? But he still has his fastball. 6-0 on the picks that he had.
Undefeated.
Undefeated.
impressive.
And
Which
every
makes me
team that
think
he was
Picking
a part of.
underdogs. Picking underdogs, too. He didn't go all chalk.
That's it.
And he called LSU the national champion.
He did, which is he knows a script. He knows a script.
I thought he was going to dot the I.
I thought they just had an NFL script. They got a college one too.
Apparently they got it. Lee knows it. Lee knows it.
It's like the Twilight books.
But that was gonna be. I guess that was gonna make it easy. Show curtain call. Lee Corso. Not only is it was his last college game day, but it was the fact that he went 6-0 on top of that, which I wish I would have. In the moment, I thought about it and I didn't do it. I was like, I should pick all the picks that Lee Corso
Well,
does.
you would think that he would get all of them wrong.
Well, I mean, it's just. It's
He's
the football
with the
gods.
script.
It's time. It's time.
You just said that was the script.
Yeah,
So,
that's
and
what it
obviously
is.
they would give him all answers.
Yeah, he knows it.
You usually don't get to go out on top, and Lee hit the walk off. Let's just put it like that. He missed.
I think Lee dropped the LSU to the national championship way too early. I think he was supposed to say that later. Because if you looked at Herbstreit's like, you're saying that now. Like, wow. Yeah, you know, he just.
Also, you didn't see it. Shout out Pat McAfee. He had his pages were blown away for Corso, like he was doing his last little rendition. Phone on top, stop the wind, like quick move.
Oh,
Just
for Corso.
Yeah, just a pro move.
Oh, yeah. He's been great on that, too.
Well, it's going to be
he's
him
been
now.
funny.
I'd wonder what he's going
it's
to
a good
do.
addition. They need a little change up.
Well, yeah, it's father-son.
Huh?
He's the next one.
Yeah, honestly, Saban's been great, too,
Yeah.
on
He
that.
really has.
Like,
Shitting through a tin
Saban's
horn.
been. And the fact that I think McAfee loosens everybody up,
Yeah.
right? Like, Saban likes Pat, which
Shouldn't.
anybody that's been around Saban would be like, there's no way Saban would like Pat McAfee.
No way
out.
Jay Johnson
They got
like Wade Courtney.
they got those West Virginia Pittsburgh ties. I think that helps.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think, and honestly, like, you look at Pat and you see the way he goes, and like, oh, he's funny, he wears these cutoffs, all this kind of stuff. But then you see him behind the scenes, like he actually works his ass off, like he's everywhere. You know, like I think there's a respect there, right? This guy knows what he's doing. It's just part
Don't
of
just show up.
his character, right? Which is why he's so good at what he does. Which is, he's made a lot of money doing that. Good for him.
It's commendable.
It is. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Curtain
thank
call.
you.
Man,
Appreciate you.
I
Curtain call to
appreciate
Cam.
y'all.
Appreciate you.
This was fun, man. I
Like I
appreciate
told you,
y'all
it's pretty
having
easy.
me. Yeah, it was a good
Anytime.
time.
Anytime you want to come on. You don't have to be a weekly thing. Come on every other week, whenever you
Every
feel.
day.
Every day. I'll be here.
Whenever you want to come on, obviously we love the actual first person insight on football, and you've been a part of it. You've done a lot of things here, and we appreciate that.
All right, man. Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for your time. All right. That's all we got for you on this beautiful Monday, beautiful Labor Day. Enjoy the last college football game of the week. Enjoy NFL. Oh, we'll be back on Wednesday to talk NFL.
No, we'll be talking Tech, LSU.
Yeah, that too.
Upset?
No. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you can't watch us, but you like listening to us or anywhere you get your pods. We'll see you again live Wednesday in studio from 6 to 8-ish. We appreciate the support. We love y'all. Jay. Lloyd got you. Lloyd got you.
Yeah!
There he is.
Yeah!
Got the fireworks. All right. See y'all Wednesday. Peace.
Later.